Alright, welcome back. So today we're taking that base NPC that we made and we're going to make their movements a little more random so that they're not just kind of patrolling the outskirts of their little boundary. And we're also going to add very simple dialogue. So here we go. That's it. We're not going to go for branching dialogue or anything like that. We're going super simple. So I'll cover branching dialogue in kind of its individual tutorial series later, but for now, this is what we're doing. So stick around and let's dive right in. Alright, so welcome back. Today we're going to be taking our NPC and putting them into our game. We're also going to be doing some really simple dialogue with our NPC and our player. It's not going to be anything scripted, it's just going to be some very simple dialogue. So a couple things I want to do very first here is I want to go to my NPC holder and I want to open the prefab in its own little prefab workspace here. I want to go to my NPC and I forgot to change the rigid body type to kinematic, which is what we wanted. We still want it simulated, but we want it to be kinematic so that it's not being bounced around by anything in the scene. Alright, so with that done, we're going to go back here, and I already have this in my prefab folder, so now I'm going to go to my scenes and open up my little main scene here. I'm going to go to my prefabs, NPC, I'm going to grab my bounded NPC, bring them into the world, and I'm going to pay attention about where I'm putting the boundary, so I'm just going to go like right there. And I can resize this boundary, and like I said, I can also change it from just being a rectangle. You could make it a polygon. Alright, so let's try this out. Let's see if the little NPC walks around their area, and if they recognize the player when they see them. And what should also happen is the player should not be able to push them around. Okay, so they essentially act like an immovable object. So, right in there. A couple sorting issues, looks like. Okay, so these need to be sorted by their pivot point. But otherwise it's acting like we would expect it to. So far so good. Now, one thing that I noticed would happen is if you leave this guy for too long, he ends up just doing the perimeter, and I want some kind of more random action than that. So I'm going to take a look at my little NPC script that I made here, and I'm going to create a move time as well. So an amount of time I want him or her to move in any one direction. So I'm going to make a public float move time, and I'm going to make a private float to go with this called move time seconds. And what this is the private float is going to be a value that the script will change, and the move time will be a public reference value. So in the background, it'll be counting down the move time seconds, and then once the move time seconds reaches 0, then it will start moving in a new direction. I also want it to wait sometimes when it goes somewhere. So I'm going to do the same thing for public float wait time and private float wait time seconds. So in my start method, I'm going to set both of the seconds versions, the private floats of those, to the public values. So move time seconds is equal to move time, and then wait time seconds is equal to wait time. In the update, I'm going to check to make sure that we're in a moving state. So I'm going to add, rather than creating a full state machine, I'm just going to add a little variable here. I'm going to call this private bool is moving. Okay, and then down in here in my update, I'm going to say, in my update, I'm going to say if is moving, then I'm going to decrement or decrease the move time seconds. So move time seconds minus equals time dot delta time. And then I want to check to see if it's equal to or less than 0. So if move time seconds less than or equal to 0, then I'm going to say move time seconds is equal to move time. And I'm also going to set is moving false. I'm also going to take my if player in range here, and yeah, I'm going to cut this and I'll paste this in here so that the player will only move if they're in the moving state, and if the NPC will only move if they're in the moving state and if the player isn't in range. And then we're going to do an else, meaning if we're in the wait time seconds minus equals time dot delta time. And if wait time seconds is less than or equal to 0, then we're going to say is moving is true, and wait time seconds is equal to wait time. Okay. I have notes for doing this a different way, but I'm changing my mind as I go, which is almost never good. So those of you who like to see me problem solve stuff, this is probably going to end up being a good episode for that. So if we pop back over here, I'm going to need to set the move time seconds and all that. So I want to do this on the prefab version. So if I go to the NPC in its own little prefab thing here, I'm going to say the move time is 3. I'm going to say the wait time is 1. And we'll talk about how we can make this more random than it is right now, because it's always going to be 3 seconds of movement and then 1 second of not movement. So let's see exactly what the behavior we're going to get is. But like I said, I tested this a different way. So, okay, they stopped moving, continued moving. So when they stop moving, I want them to choose a new direction as well. So is moving is false. Choose direction. Or what did I call it? Did I call it change direction? I called it change direction. So, wow. Actually, let's do what we did with the... Let's make that a separate function. So in the on collision enter, I made this little thing here. Let's turn that into its own function. So let's, instead of calling this move, I'm going to call this a private void choose new different, choose different direction. So choose different direction is going to take everything that we did here, and we're just going to do that instead up here, since I'm going to want to do that in more than one place. That way I'm not repeating my code. So choose different direction. And then up here, when is moving is false, we're going to choose a different direction. And then so what I want to do, let's test this out. I keep thinking in my head what's going to happen instead of just actually testing it. So let's find out. Worst case scenario, I don't know. Our little NPC freaks out and doesn't act like they're supposed to, and I can just revert it back to how it was at the beginning of the episode. So if we go to our scene view here, oh, so them choosing a direction, see, they're choosing the direction and then they're idling. Well, what this serves is idle in that direction. So they're going, but this does make them use more of their space here. I'm actually going to tone down that move time. So my NPC, it's a float, so it can be anything. I'm going to set the move time to be like 1.5, and I'm going to set the wait time to be 0.75. And let's go back here. Now, the reason that they're idling is because we're choosing a different direction while we just start that move. So I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to put it in here so that they choose a new direction after they've stopped moving, or after they've stopped waiting, rather. All right, now let's hit play. Maybe. All right, so if I go over here, that's much better. Yeah, that's way better. It is still pretty dumb, but it's way better. Now let's change it some more here. To make this a little more interesting, instead of just resetting the move time seconds to move time, I'm going to have two separate values, one for minimum move time. So we'll call this min move time. And then we'll make another one for max move time. And then we'll do the same thing for wait time. This is going to change from wait time to min wait time. And then we'll make a public float for max wait time. Then, when we're setting these, we're going to set them to a random number. Random.range between min move time and max move time. And we'll do the same thing for the wait time. Random.range, min move time, max move time. All right, and then let me just copy this line. This is for the wait time seconds. I'm going to do that here. And then I'll copy this one for the move time seconds. And I'll put that here. All right, so we'll save that. Pop back into Unity here. Let that compile for a second. Somebody had pointed out to me that there's an extension you can get so that Visual Studio automatically compiles your Unity code instead of needing to go back to Unity to wait for it. And I keep meaning to check it out, but I haven't yet, so whatever that's worth. That's a thing. Alright, so if I jump back over to scene, oh, holy cow. Oh, it's because since I changed the values, they're all 0. So he's going crazy. Or she, it, whatever. Alright, so I want to go to my NPC here, and I'm going to set my min move time to 1, my max move time to 1.5, which isn't a huge difference, but it's enough that I think most people would notice. And the min wait time to 0.1, and the max wait time to 0.75. Alright, if I go back, let's hit play. Now that they're not all 0, our little NPC should keep things pretty random here. That's nice. And they're also never going to go outside of their little boundary, because no matter what, no matter how hard, since I made it kinematic, no matter how hard the player pushes them, we're not going to push them out of their boundary, and neither will an enemy or anything like that. In fact, to make sure an enemy wouldn't do it, you can make them, sorry, lost my train of thought. You can put them on a completely different layer so that their physics interactions don't happen, so that this little duder doesn't interact with the enemy at all. Now, alright, so let's make some dialogue show up. So I'm going to save this, and I need to review how I actually did the dialogue, because I've kind of forgotten, because sometimes I'm real dumb. Did I still have my objects? Yeah. Oh man, I need to organize this. I need to almost take an entire episode and just organize this whole thing. So, in my sign, I've got my context clue. So, I'm going to use a concept called polymorphism here. So right now our bounded NPC, I wonder if I can do it if they're both in the same tree. Can I do that? Nope. Bounded NPC cannot have multiple base classes. Okay, so instead of inheriting from interactable, this is going to screw everything up. I'm going to inherit from sign because sign already has all that dialog stuff in it. So if I go to Unity here, I'm going to need to change my NPC again. So let's open them up. Everything's going to be broken now. I know that people want more like in-depth dialogue choices, and believe me, I want to cover that, but that's a big thing. We'll cover that soon enough. Oh, okay, cool. I was afraid I was going to lose this. So the dialogue they're going to have, I'm going to say is, I saw your father go into that cave, south and east. South is supposed to be capitalized, sorry. South and east of here. Okay. Now, I'm going to go, well, just put that in that. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, it's okay. I'll just need to remember to change it if I add any other NPCs. So the NPC needs to know where the dialog holder is. And the dialog holder is right here. Dialog box, and then it needs to know the dialog text. NPC dialog text is right here. All right, cool. So let's try this out. Like I said, I had notes on how to do it one way, and I'm doing it a completely different way right now. So this is interesting. This is fun for me too. So let's go check her out. All right, so first let's observe the amazing random movements. It's not great. It's not super interesting. Okay, cool. So what am I missing here then? If I go to the scripts, objects, sign. So on trigger, enter 2D, input get button down, attack, and player in range. Oh, because this is all happening in the input button, or in the update function. So I'm going to copy this. Since we already have an update, I could either, well, yeah, let's actually do that. I don't think we've actually used base dot something. So I'm going to make this a public virtual void update. And let's go back to our bounded NPC, wherever I put that. There we go. This is going to be a public override void. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that to start. And maybe you can't override mono behavior methods like that. Let's find out. Oh, nope, you can. Cool. So we're going to do base dot, I always forget what this is. There are some people who know programming. It's not invoke. Oh, it might be invoke. No. All right, so what if I were to do it this way? Nope, okay. I was hoping for IntelliSense to tell me what it is. It's like, it's base dot something. This makes for wonderful YouTube content, I'm sure. Is it base dot update? Yeah, there we go. All right, it's the method name. Cool. I didn't know that you could do virtual and override voids on the mono behaviors like that. That's This is interesting. We're all learning something here. All right, so what this does is in the update method, usually it would just do what this is, but now it's going to do the base class's update method, and the base class is sign. So it's going to run through all of sign's update method, which is checking to see if we press the attack button and if the player's in range, and then it's going to make the dialog active or make it inactive. And then after it does the base's update method, then it will do its own update method. So we're going to save this, pop back into Unity here, and let's give it a try. All right, so cool. I'm going to, I've got, everything's so cluttered. I wish I could take like 4 episodes and just force you guys to watch me cleaning up my scene. I'm sure that would make awesome YouTube content and get me all the views, but there we go. I saw your father go in that cave south and east of here. All right, cool. So that with my little cutscene I made should make a pretty good intro there. All right, cool. Everything's kind of coming together here, except the scale on this is all weird. I'll have to fix that. Okay. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the description down below. You can follow me on Twitter, find out when I post new videos. You can join my Discord. Tons of really talented, very cool people there who are extending this project in unique and interesting ways. A lot of them are willing to help out or share. Yeah, the community that we have at Discord is just pretty great. So if you can, stop by. Also, I've started live streaming. On Saturday, I live streamed the very, very, very beginning development of my own game, Kitty Quark. And you can see that live stream on my Twitch, although, however, I did use like regular music while I was listening because I thought that was okay because people listen to Spotify playlists, and now it's muted in the archives, so that's a thing. But I will be live streaming more regularly. You can join my Twitter to find out when I do. And yeah, hope everybody has themselves a wonderful day. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving a like, subscribing to the channel, or telling a friend who might be interested. Also, please consider following me on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can earn access to tangible rewards, like early access to videos, backer-only videos and series, polls for future topics, streams, and even individual tutoring sessions. You can find a link to that in the description. And as always, have yourselves a wonderful day.